Emma sighed as she wiped dust from an old wooden chest in the attic. She had been meaning to sort through these forgotten boxes for years, but life always seemed too busy. Now, with her children grown and the house quieter than ever, she finally had the time. As she lifted a pile of old books, something slipped out and fluttered to the ground. A yellowed envelope, its edges worn with time. Curious, she picked it up and turned it over. There was no name on the front, just a date written in neat, familiar handwriting, 20 years ago. Emma's heart pounded as she carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a folded letter, the ink slightly faded but still legible. As she read the first few lines, her breath caught in her throat. "My dearest Emma, I know I don't always say it enough, but I love you more than words can express. Every day with you is a gift, and I am grateful for the laughter, the quiet moments, and even the challenges we face together. You are my heart, my home, and my greatest joy. As we step into this new chapter of our lives together, I promise to always cherish and love you, no matter what life brings our way. Yours forever, James." Emma clutched the letter to her chest, her vision blurred by tears. It had been years since she had heard such tender words from James. Not that he didn't love her. She knew he did. But after decades of marriage, their love had become quieter, more routine. There were bills to pay, children to raise, problems to solve. The days of handwritten love letters and whispered confessions had long faded into hurried goodnights and passing conversations about work. She sat there for a long time, letting the memories wash over her. She thought about the early days, the way James would hold her hand at every opportunity, the way he would leave little notes in her lunchbox, the way he would look at her like she was his entire world. Somewhere along the way, life had gotten in the way, and they had stopped showing their love in the ways they once did. That evening, when James came home, Emma was waiting for him in the living room. She held the letter in her hands, her fingers trembling slightly. "James," she said softly, "I found something today." He glanced at the letter, then back at her. A hint of recognition flashed in his eyes as he reached for it. As he read, his face softened, and his eyes glistened with emotion. "I remember this," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I wrote it the night before our wedding. I wanted to give it to you that morning, but in all the chaos, I must have misplaced it." Emma swallowed hard. "James, when was the last time we really talked? When was the last time we reminded each other how much we love each other?" He looked at her then, truly looked at her. The woman who had been by his side through every joy and every hardship. The woman who had raised their children, held his hand in times of sorrow, laughed with him in moments of happiness, and stood beside him even when life wasn't easy. "You're right," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "I never stopped loving you, Emma, but maybe I stopped showing it the way I should have." Emma stepped closer, slipping her hands into his. "Then let's start again. Let's remind each other." James pulled her into a gentle embrace, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. "I love you, Emma, and I always will." That night, for the first time in years, they sat together without distractions, just talking, reminiscing, and holding each other. The love that had always been there, buried beneath the weight of time, was rekindled once more. And in that quiet, heartfelt moment, they found their way back to each other. The end.